Hi everyone, welcome to my Black Beacon 1.0 launch review. Black Beacon was released globally on iOS, Android, and Google Play game on April 10, 2025. I'm currently level 35 and I finished all the story available on launch. I used the Google Play game emulator to play Black Beacon, and my review will be based off my experience using it. I'm going to break this review down into a couple of categories, which are story, cinematography, sound design, core gameplay, character progression, technical performance, the Gacha System, is it free to play friendly, and my overall thoughts. So if you want to skip around, I'll leave timestamps in the description of this video. This review is not sponsored at all. If I do any comparison to another game, I'll try to keep the comparison to within the realm of gacha games. So let's start off with the story. I'm going to keep the story spoilers to a minimum. This game is guilty of using the amnesia main character trope that we see a lot in RPG gacha games like Wuthering Waves, Tribe 9, Genshin, yada yada. In Black Beacon, the main character has the ability to time travel. Something apocalyptic happens which forces your crew to jump to different periods of time to gather information or to complete some other objectives. If you like time traveling story, I think you'll like Black Beacon's story. Chapter 1 in my opinion was kind of slow, but I think that's understandable since they're introducing you to the world of Black Beacon. The pace does pick up in chapter 2, and in my opinion the story does get better from there onwards. It starts to tie things together and you get those eureka moments when the plot starts to tie together. The story has a skip button and a 2x speed for dialogue, so that's nice. It also has a story recap feature if you want to catch up on lore later and not go through the combat part. These features are nice and I'm glad that the developers added them in. In my opinion, all gacha games should have these functions, old or new. The cinematography in Black Beacon is decent. I think this is where they kinda had to cut costs to fit within their current budget. The story is mostly presented in a still background image with 3D models of the cast on top of it, like a standard visual novel settings. When the character talks, their 3D model lights up and vice versa. The unspoken narration is done well, and it's usually done from the perspective of the main character. Most of the action scenes are presented in 2D pictures. There are cinematic scenes, but it's rare. I hope Black Beacon does well revenue wise and use that revenue to improve their cinematography. Black Beacon is an instance based game, and the stage design is alright. In my opinion, some of the stages look kind of bland and they look too alike. For example, the background of some of the stages are just blank space, and I know it's not a big deal, but it bugs me. Again, I think this is where the company had to skim out on to fit their current budget. Moving to the overall sound design, we'll go over the voice acting first. Currently, the game has Chinese or English voice option for the story. I play using the English voice option, and surprisingly, better than I expected. I thought the voice actors did a good job in representing their characters. I was a bit annoyed with Zero's VA at first, but later realized that Zero is supposed to sound monotone and lack of emotion. Although this is something kind of nitpicky, there are times where characters that are in the same faction pronounce cities or group of people differently. You would think since their characters are in the same faction, their pronunciation or accent would be very similar. I think this is a small issue with the sound direction, which is not too big. I think they are lacking in the background music and the sound effects category. The BGM is kind of pretty average. I didn't feel like it elevated my experience. It feels more like it's just having a background music in the background, so then the game wouldn't feel silent. Some of the SFX is pretty basic and it's nothing really outstanding. The core gameplay of Black Beacon is a bit of a mixed bag when playing on the Google Play Games emulator. I'm going to shorten it to GPG just to make it easier for me. The developers designed Black Beacon to be played on mobile or touchscreen devices, so anything that requires you to touch the screen does not convert well to the GPG and using a mouse. There are some cases in the story or combat that requires you to aim your skill shot to an object or to an enemy, and it's not as simple as pointing your mouse at the thing and fire. The game requires you to hold left mouse click on the skill and aim within the skill circle. It's a hassle and a bit annoying to do. The player's perspective does not move along with the mouse, so if you want to look around, you will need to hold left mouse click and drag to look around. This is a little bit annoying to do during combat, especially since there are no lock-on features too. There are times where I find myself trying to find the last enemy and I had to like kind of drag the screen to look around to find it. This might be an issue with the GPG and not Black Beacon, but your mouse cursor can travel outside the emulator. So if you're not conscious to where your mouse cursor is, you can accidentally click outside the emulator and into another window. It's not like Wuthering Waves or Zenless Zone Zero or Genshin Impact where it's almost impossible to accidentally click outside the game. Good news is these issues are temporarily because the devs are actively working to provide a PC gameplay experience. Unfortunately, there are no confirmation of an official launch of that yet. Aside from the touchscreen shenanigans, Black Beacon's combat feels smooth, fast-paced, and fun overall. It's pretty unique, and if I were to compare it to another gacha game, it's like a mixture of Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves. Each character has a basic attack, a skill 1, skill 2, passive skill, combo skill, dash, dodge, counterattack, and ultimate. They also have an entrance skill, which is something like Wuthering Waves intro. Black Beacon has 3 combat system, and I won't dive too into it. I'll just give you a short description of each. The Vigor Point system ties to your skill 1 and skill 2 usage. As long as you have enough Vigor points, you can use your skill. Combo Burst allows your character to access their combo skill and enhance effect of skill 1 and skill 2 if they have it. During Combo Burst, your character's Vigor will regen at a faster rate. To access Combo Burst, you would just need to build the Combo Burst meter by just doing any types of attack. And the last one is the Elemental Overload. This system is similar to Genshin Impact's Elemental Reaction system, where when you apply more than 2 elemental anomalies, it will trigger an Elemental Overload, dealing more damage. These are a short description of each system. I can probably make another guide going more in depth later. For character progression, I think the developers in Black Beacon is cooking with this one. It has the standard leveling, weapon, skill, and dupe system that's mainstream in almost all RPG gacha games. What they don't have is the traditional artifact or the loadout system that is often seen in games like Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, Nikkei, or Zenless Zone Zero. They call their progression system Ancient Mark Grid. So you have a blank canvas-like grid and you will need to fill those spaces with ancient marks. Ancient marks are what gives your character bonus stats and effects, and they come in different shapes and sizes. As long as you can fit the pieces into your grid, you will get the stats and effects. I like this because it gives more control to the players on how they want to build their character. If you're too lazy or just don't feel like thinking too hard, there is a recommend build feature that tells you which ancient mark you need and will build the grid for you. I don't think there's any gacha games that uses a system similar to this, and it's very refreshing to see a developer thinking outside of the box. The technical performance or optimization of Black Beacon has been pretty rough on the GPG emulator. I don't even know where to start. I consider my PC to be above average and should not have any issues running any gacha games on PC. Numerous times I've experienced a lot of audio distortion or stuttering during dialogues. It was so bad that I decided to just skip the story on the GPG emulator and I will go through it again on my phone using the story recap function. Great feature, by the way. There are times where I lose the sound completely, and the only time I can get back the sound is if I restart the game. Very annoying to experience. Sometimes I would also have graphic or FPS hiccups where the game would freeze for less than a second. I've also experienced getting stuck in obstacles or even going through obstacles. The load and screen times are inconsistent. I didn't have this issue personally, but I read people were having issues creating and linking accounts. It was so bad that the developers had to issue a compensation of 30 pulls. Somehow they broke the pre-registration awards, so players weren't getting them after they completed the tutorial. I was lucky that I rolled a good account before that happened, so that didn't affect my experience. Some of the dialogues were not fully translated. Either they're still in Chinese or the text is just broken. In my opinion, the developers should have delayed the release of Black Beacon to flesh out the game and launch it with a native PC client. All these issues and not having a PC client on launch deterred a lot of people from playing the game. The gacha system in Black Beacon is great. They call their pulls retrievals, so I'll be using that terminology. For character banner, the base chance to get a 5-star is 1%, 4-star is 10.8%, and 3-star weapons are 88.2%. It has a hard pity count of 70 and a soft pity starts after 40. If you don't get a 5-star after 40 retrievals, your probability to get a 5-star character doubles to 2%. For every additional 5 retrievals after that, your probability will increase further. When pulling for the rate up character, there is a 70% chance to pull the rate up. If you lose your 70-30, then the next 5-star will be guaranteed rate up. For weapon banner, it's even better. It's basically Wuthering Waves weapon banner, but better. 5-star weapon has a base chance of 1.5%, 4-star weapon has a base chance of 10.8%, and 3-star weapon has a base chance of 87.7%. It has a hard pity count of 50 and a soft pity of 25. Your probability to get a 5-star weapon will double when you reach soft pity, and it will continue to increase after 5 retrievals until you get a 5-star weapon. Weapon banner are guaranteed 100%, and on the standard banner, you can choose which 5-star weapon to pull for. In character banners, all the 5 and 4 stars are characters only, same with the 5 and 4 stars in the weapon banner. I think it's nice to segregate them, so when players pull on the character banner, they expect to only get 5 and 4 star characters. In the time-seeking shop, you can purchase a dupe of a unit using the byproduct you receive when you pull a 5 or 4 star dupe. You do need to own the unit to purchase the dupe, and looking at Florence's dupe, it doesn't say it's time limited, so I'm assuming it's permanent. I've noticed new gacha games recently have been moving away from the standard 50-50 Hoyoverse banner system, and I'm all for it. I think these new companies knows if they want to make money or take potential revenues from the top gacha gaming companies, they need better rates on their banners. One day, we'll see a company that will fully commit to a 100% rate up on character banner, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. So is Black Beacon free to play friendly in gem currency or pulls? My answer at the moment is yes. One retrieval is 150 rune shards. Rune shards are what they call their gem currency. Each chapter has about 17 to 20 stages, and each stage gives you 50 rune shards upon completion. So you get around like 5 to 6ish retrievals for completing a chapter. The ongoing events and login rewards are giving you a lot of pulls, and hopefully this continues. When your account levels, you're rewarded with materials, rune shards, or retrievals. You get rune shards for first time clears on resource and EX stages. There are many ways to earn rune shards now, and hopefully they add more in the future. To give my overall thoughts about Black Beacon, the game is very fun despite not having a dedicated PC client yet. I'm going to continue playing Black Beacon and will hold out for a PC client. I'm still going to bitch about the audio and graphical issues until the PC client arrives. I think Black Beacon respects your time. It allows you to skip the story when you just want to jump into the combat immediately. It has a story recap mode for when you want to just catch up on lore and not go through the combat part. That's a great feature. It's convenient that you can sweep all your resource stages after you get a 3-star completion. It's nice not to get time gated by needing boss materials to level up your skills. I like that they're thinking outside the box in character progression. Can't wait till we get a dedicated PC client. Hopefully it's sooner than later. So here are my ratings. It's gonna be out of 10, and it's gonna be based off my experience on the Google Play game emulator. Story, I'm gonna give it an 8. Cinematography, I'll give it a 5. It's just kind of average, nothing really amazing or anything. Sound design, I'll give it a 7. This was hard carried by the voice acting. Core gameplay, I'll give it an 8. I would have rated this higher to a 9 or maybe a close 10, but the touchscreen mechanics were a pain in the ass to do on the GPG emulator. Character progression, I'll give this a 9. I like the idea of the ancient mark system. Technical performance or optimization on the GPG, I'll give this a 4. there's just too many annoying issues with like the audio, the sound, and there's just like performance issues. And when we add them together and average it, it would come out as a 6.8 overall score. Once Black Beacon gets a dedicated PC client, I can see myself bumping the overall score to an 8 or an 8.5. I hope you liked my review. If you do, please subscribe and leave a like. It helps out a lot. Other than that, have a great day.